Good morning, dear children. Welcome back. Today, let us learn from Geography lesson number 18, that is globe, a model of the earth, latitudes and longitudes. And first is globes. All right, so you know that our earth is a sphere and it is slightly flattened at the poles. The earth looks like an orange bulging on the sides and slightly flat at the top of the bottom. So its true shape is called geoid. The model showing the accurate shape of the earth is called a globe. So on a globe, the shapes and the size of the continents and oceans, distances and directions, etc. are correctly represented. In other words, a globe is a correct replica of the round shape of the earth, and it is difficult to locate a point on a sphere. How does one do it? For this weekend, we need certain points of references and lines to locate the place. So let's continue to understand it. So let's continue with parallels of latitude and meridians of longitude. So the parallels of latitude and meridians of longitudes form a network known as grid. It helps us to locate place on the globe easily. And the parallel of latitude help us to know the temperature of a place, and it also enable us to find the distance of a place from the equator. Thus it help us to divide the earth into different heat zones, such as the torrid zone, the frigid zone, and the temperate zone, etc. And next we have latitude. So latitudes are drawn in the east-west direction between two poles, and they run parallel to the equator. And equator is an imaginary line dividing the earth into two hemispheres, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And as these lines are drawn parallel to the equator, so they are called parallels of latitude. The distance between these lines is always the same, okay? And latitude is defined as the angular distance north or south of the equator, and the latitude of the equator is supposed to be 0 degree, while that of the north pole is 90 degree north, and that of the south pole is 90 degree south, as you can see here in the picture. And the parallels of latitude to the north of the equator are known as north latitudes, okay, and those to the south of the equator are known as south latitudes. There are 90 lines to the north of the equator and 90 lines to the south of the equator, okay. So thus in all there are 180 parallels of latitude. The angular distance from the equator is measured in degree. Each degree is further divided into minutes and each minute into seconds. And next we have some important parallels of latitude. Here the equator in the most important parallel of latitude, as you have already read, the equator divides the earth into two equal parts, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And the northern hemisphere lies to the north of the equator, while the southern hemisphere lies to the south of the equator. And the equator is drawn in the middle of the earth, halfway between the north pole and the south pole. Is the largest latitude around the earth. It is called 0% latitude. So all the latitudes are measured from this line. The sun shines vertically over it throughout the year. So as you can see here, number 2, the moderate of the temperature zone, figure 18.3, which is given in your book, heat zones of the earth. So besides the equator, other important parallels of latitude are the Tropic of Cancer, situated at the angular distance of 23.5 degree north in the northern hemisphere, and the Tropic of Capricorn, situated at an angular distance of 23.5 degrees south in the southern hemisphere. Remember, the Tropic of Cancer passes through midway through India, okay. And the Arctic, as you can see, Arctic and the Antarctic circles are situated at 66 half degree north and 66 half degree south respectively. And next we have importance of latitudes again. Latitudes have an importance of its own. By means of latitude, we can very easily form an idea of the temperature of the place. Consequently, with the help of latitudes, we can divide the earth into heat zones, and with the help of latitudes, we can find out the distance of a place from the equator. 1 degree of latitude is roughly equal to 111 kilometer, 100 kilometer. Along with longitudes, latitudes help us to find out the exact location of a place in heat zone of the world. As discussed above, latitudes help us in dividing the earth into different heat zones, which are as follows. First, the hot of the torrid zone, it lies between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. It is hottest zone of the world. The noon sun shines vertically over this part of the earth, and the moderate of the temperature, it is lies between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle in the North Hemisphere, and between the Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle in the Southern Hemisphere. The sun is never overhead in this zone, so it is neither very hot in summer nor very cold in winter. It is therefore called the temperate zone. Next, we have the cold or the frigid zone. It lies between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole in the Northern Hemisphere, and the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole in the Southern Hemisphere. It is the coldest part of the Earth, where the sun's rays are very slanting. Here the summers are short and cold, while winters are extremely cold. Next, let's proceed to the longitudes. In figure 18.4, it's given here parallels of latitude and the meridians of longitude picture. Longitudes, the angular distance of a place is or west of the prime meridian is called longitude. For the purpose of the convenience, it was decided that the meridian which passes through Greenwich in the England should be regarded as a prime meridian. And the counting of meridians should be begin from that place, and value is 0 degree longitude. There are 360 longitudes drawn through the equator at equal intervals of 1 degree, on which the meridians to the east of the prime meridian are followed by the letter E, that is east, and those to the west are followed by the letter W, that is west. And as the 180-degree longitude is the same line to the east or to the west, so it is followed neither by east nor by west. So distance between the meridian is also measured in degrees, called degrees or longitude, which are further divided into minutes and seconds. The importance of longitudes, like the latitudes, the longitudes have an importance of their own. With the help of longitudes, we can very easily calculate the local time of a place, which if we know the latitude and longitude of a place, we can very easily locate it on the globe or in a map. Likewise, we can easily find out the location, latitude and longitude of any particular place or cities on the globe or a map. So try to find here in a figure 18.5, let me show you. So as you can see here in figure 18.5, India location of important cities is given here. Here it says try to find out the locations. Here homework is given here for you. Try to find out the locations, latitudes and longitudes of Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Srinagar, Mumbai and Tiruvananthapuram. Yes, while looking at the map of India, compare your estimate with the chart. See how far you are correct from this location. India location of important cities. Places are mentioned, latitude and longitudes are given here. So with the help of this, you have to compare your estimate with this chart, how far you are correct. So let's proceed to the next. Okay, so we have next, we have differences between the parallels of latitude and meridians of longitude. Okay, so parallels of latitude are imaginary lines running in the east-west direction parallels to the equator, and they are 180 in number, whereas the meridian of longitude are also imaginary line running in the north-south direction from pole to pole. They are 360 in numbers. Okay, next, we have longitude and time. Before that, as you can see in figure 18.6, the world has been divided into 24 time zones at the international date line, and that changes. That is, you can see here Greenwich meridian and international meridian is given here. Greenwich meridian, we have AM and PM both, and international deadline AM and PM. And let's go in detail. By a common consensus, the longitude of Greenwich, a place near London in England, has been accepted as 0 degree. And the earth rotates on its axis once in 24 hours. It means that it takes 24 hours to pass through 360 degree of longitude. In other words, it takes 4 minutes to pass through 1 degree longitude. Thus, if we know the meridians of longitude of two places, we can find out the difference in their local times. For example, the longitude of Delhi is 77 degree east. It means there shall be a difference of 77 into 4. That is 77 into 4 is equal to 308 minutes, or 5 hours and 8 minutes between the local time to Greenwich in Delhi. As the earth rotates from west to east, the local time place to the east of Greenwich will be ahead of Greenwich time, and the local time of places to the east, sorry, to the west of Greenwich will be behind the Greenwich time. Here you can see, and if it is 12 o'clock noon at Greenwich in time, at Delhi shall be 5 hours and 8 minutes ahead of Greenwich, which it lies to the east of Greenwich. It shall be 12 plus 5 hours and 8 minutes. That is 17 minus 8 hours, or 5 minus 8 p.m. at Delhi. Now, so don't get confused. Greenwich is a place near London in England from where the counting of meridian starts. Okay, and the meridian passing through the Greenwich is regarded as a prime meridian. Now some example also given here. Now find out the local time of New York, 74 degree west when it is noon at Greenwich. Naturally there shall be a difference of 74 into 4, that is 296 minutes, or 4 hours and 56 between the timings of Greenwich and New York. As New York lies to the west of Greenwich, its time shall be 4 hours and 56 minutes behind the Greenwich. It shall be 12 minus 4 hours and 56 minutes is equal to 7 that is 7 minus 0 a.m. at New York. So New York and Greenwich time is shown here. Next let's proceed to the local time and standard time. Alright, so let me read out. As the local time differs from place to place, it causes great inconvenience of the country as a whole. Therefore, in a particular country, the local time of a particular, or rather a center place, is adopted as a uniform time for the whole country. It is called the standard time of that country or that area. In India, the local time of 82.5 degree east longitude is used as standard time for the whole country. It is called the Indian Standard Time, that is 82 half degree east. Thus the standard meridian of India, seeing the map of India, can you name 4 towns which are situated or on or very close to our standard meridian? Remember, the Indian Standard Time is So 82, yes, 82 half note into 4 minutes is equal to 330 minutes, or 5 hours and 30 minutes ahead of the Greenwich time. Okay, so thus the watches in India will show 5:30 p.m. when it's noon in England. All right, so local time and standard time is like the watch fixed or adjusted by observing the middays and at the particular place given an idea or local time. It's differ from place to place, which in the same country, but the local time of a particular or a central place were adopted as the uniform time for the whole country, given or give an idea of standard time of that country. Okay, thus the watches in India will show 5:30 p.m. when it's noon in England. Okay, dear children, so no, there will be no homework, and as you have got all the question answer from this chapter, read all the exercise, fill in the blank, match the following, whatever, define the following, distinguish between, answer the following questions, read very carefully and prepare well for the exam. Thank you very much.